The knock that wouldn't stop. It started the night my neighbor disappeared. I remember because it was freezing. One of those November nights when the air itself feels sharp. The police were already on our street when I got home from work. My neighbors. Blue lights danced against the bare trees, and the officer waved me around the cul-de-sac. I didn't know Mrs. Harding well, just enough to say hello when she watered her plants. But when they said she'd vanished without a trace, something in me went cold. I tried to shake it off, made some soup, and turned on the TV. But around 10:30, there was a knock at my door. 3 knocks. Slow, heavy. At first, I thought it was the police doing interviews, so I opened it without checking the peephole. But there was no one there, just the porch light buzzing and the wind pushing at the hedges. I told myself it was kids, or maybe the wind had knocked something over. I locked the door and I went back to the couch. At 11:15 p.m., it came again. 3 knocks, the same rhythm. "All right, cut it out," I shouted, standing up this time. Not funny. Nothing. I grabbed the flashlight from the kitchen drawer and opened the door a crack. Again, no one. But this time, I noticed something strange. There were wet footprints on my welcome mat. Bare feet. Small, like a woman's. That's when I started to feel afraid. I closed my door and locked it, and leaned against it for a moment, listening to the hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock. Everything felt too quiet. I called my friend Mark, who lived 2 streets over. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "Did you hear anything weird tonight?" "No," he said. "Why?" "Someone's knocking on my door. Twice now. No one's there." He laughed. "Probably some neighborhood prank. You watch too many horror movies." "Yeah," I said, though my voice didn't sound like mine. He offered to come by, but I told him not to bother. I hung up, checked the locks again, and went to bed. I must have fallen asleep around midnight because I woke up to a sound that made my stomach twist. Knock, knock, knock. It was softer this time, almost polite. I sat up, my heart hammering. The sound wasn't coming from my front door anymore. It was coming from my bedroom window. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then a voice whispered through the glass. "Please, let me in. It's so cold." It sounded like a woman. Her voice was trembling. I swallowed hard and reached for my phone with shaking hands. "Who is this?" I said, my voice barely audible. "Please," she whispered again. "He locked me out." I turned on the flashlight, and against every instinct I had, I pulled back the curtain just enough to see outside. There was a woman standing in the yard. She was pale, barefoot, wearing a thin nightgown that clung to her like wet paper. Her hair was tangled, dripping. But what froze me wasn't her appearance, it was her face. It was Mrs. Harding. I stumbled backwards, dropping the phone. My heart was pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. When I looked again, she was gone. I called the police. They came, searched the yard, the street, the woods behind the house. Nothing. No footprints this time. No evidence anyone had been there at all. The next morning, they found Mrs. Harding's body in the river. They said she'd been there for 3 days. I moved out a week later. I still can't sleep when it rains because sometimes when the wind picks up and the night gets quiet, I swear I can hear it again. Knock, knock, knock. So that was the end of the story, the knock that wouldn't stop. And as always, credit goes to the authors of these stories, and I will have everything linked in the description below. So if you want to read the story for yourself, it will all be in the description below. But I am curious to know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are, because honestly, I think that's kind of a sad story, more so than scary. I think it's just really sad that, you know, Mrs. Harding had passed away, like, in the river. I don't know if, you know, she was murdered or, like, maybe she fell in. Like, I don't know any of that information, but it just seems to me like her spirit was just, you know, she didn't realize she had passed on, and, like, she was looking for help. Regardless, if you enjoyed these kinds of videos, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when a new video drops. My name is Natalie, and I will see you guys in the next video.